Thanks very much. And thanks very much to AHEAD and to QQI for inviting me here today. So I work in Rathmines College Further Education. It's in Rathmines, which is just a few miles outside the city, for anyone who doesn't know it. And our main building is the iconic clock tower there, which is over 100 years old. We're part of the City of Dublin ETB, so we're a constituent college in the ETB. So, and we currently have about 700 students, so about it's from 65 different countries, so there's a lot of ethnic diversity in our group. So for example, 10% of our students this year are from Ukraine, 70 students are from Ukraine, and approximately the same percentage actually would be students with disabilities. It's usually around 10%. So I'm a tutor and VTOS coordinator, but I'm also a former disability officer, so I've been in this space for a while and I'm familiar with the AHEAD's work, and I did the AHEAD Start course back a while ago. So that's our principal and deputy principal there, and a few of our students taking a selfie. So we offer QQI courses, mostly level 5 courses, but we also offer level 4 and level 6. And they're in different areas: business, accounting, journalism, media, administration, liberal arts, software development. And that's what used to be the council chamber building is the one on the left there, and then a slightly kind of more modern computer room on the right. So my own teaching history or herstory, just thought I'd give you a little bit about that. I joined Rathmines College in 2000, and for the first half, I'd say roughly, of the time I've been there, I was teaching mainly journalism, or exclusively journalism and public relations, which is my field. And as you can imagine, because of the necessity for fluent English, the majority of that cohort were white Irish ethnically with fluent English. So that's really what I was used to. And then I was asked about 10 or 12 years ago to teach personal and professional development to business students. And it was a very interesting, it has been a very interesting parallel teaching journey, which I'm still on the twin track and still enjoying both, to learners in the HND and business. So obviously it was a very different cohort. It was much more multicultural and multi-ethnic and multilingual. So that was an interesting journey to go on. This is our graduation, which takes place in the Mansion House every year. So in September 2020, myself and 3 colleagues did the UDL course, in a digital badge course, and this was during lockdown. So we very much enjoyed it. We got a lot out of it, and still getting a lot out of it. And subsequently then the principles of UDL were shared with teaching staff through meetings, newsletters, informal mentoring, and then the QA processes have been kind of aligned accordingly as well. I'll say a bit more about that later on if I have time. So as part of that course, there was a redesign activity. So I decided it could be either a teaching activity or an assessment. So I decided I'd do an assessment activity, and I decided to redesign one of the assignments, the first assignment for the PPD, Personal Professional Module, for the QQI Level 6 business students. And just to say, I have also kind of redesigned all my own teaching notes and resources over the years, and I do that every year kind of automatically. So kind of UDL as a mindset, which I'll talk a bit about later on as well, is very much kind of ingrained into my work now. So the rationale then was, because English wasn't the first language, we, like formal written assignments, and people have spoken about this earlier today, were especially challenging for that cohort. So the aim was to enable students with relatively poor English, written English, to have alternative means of meeting the learning outcome. And unlike the gentleman that spoke, the keynote speaker, the learning outcome didn't say you have to write an essay, but that's what it had been before. They had to write an essay. So, looking at the UDL mindset and, tactics, if you like, I decided I would offer a second option, and that was to do a roundtable discussion. So before, the essay was the only choice. So the new choice was that they could have a choice of either writing an essay or engaging in a roundtable discussion. So this embodied, and again, I know I'm teaching, there's plenty of grandmothers sucking eggs here, but the +1 mentality of UDL, whereby an extra choice is added. So at that point, I added one. I think if I was doing it again, I would add a third one, which would be maybe a PowerPoint presentation for other students that might prefer to have that option. So the 2 methods of submission were different. Obviously, the essay was just submitted via Moodle, the online platform that many of you, I'm sure, will be familiar with, whereas the roundtable discussion was different. It was in class, and it was I chaired it, I video recorded it, so it was a very different method, I suppose, of assessment. In terms of the timeline, it was about a month from writing the assignment brief, or rewriting the assignment brief, to the submission. So I suppose it was maybe tight enough in the time frame. But as I said before, I think for me it's, well, I'll talk about that again, but it's sort of about the mindset, really. So I am talking fast because I'm conscious of time. So the outcome and impact then of the redesign, only one student in the group of 18 chose the essay option, and 15 chose the roundtable option, and the other 2 didn't submit. So I think straight away you could see, once that option was offered, most of them went for that. I think the assessment was probably less stressful for them. I think some of them said that to me, and I think I could see that as well. And also, almost all of them received a merit or grade or higher in the assessment, and I don't think that would have been the case. Now, we'll never know because it's hypothetical, but I really don't think they would have achieved that had they had to sit down and write an essay, which is a difficult enough thing to do for, fluent speakers, to sit down and write an essay. I think. I find it difficult, even though I've written plenty of them, but it's challenging. So this is a comment. I just thought I'd put in the comment in full from this student who was not a native Irish, he was a foreign national. I personally think that this innovative idea was better for me because English is not my first language. Roundtable discussion provided me to know what other people are thinking and what their point of view is about the topic. In the roundtable conference, all the participants had equal footings and in a better position to express and confront the issues. So that was his take on it. So in terms of reflecting what went well, I just thought I'd throw that in. Less stress, more success. I think Kelly Harrington, it's her motto, but I think I think other people have mentioned that. So this has become a bit of a catchphrase for me now as well. So she's a champion boxer, by the way, just if anyone's from overseas. She won an Olympic medal. So what worked well and what were the challenges? So what worked well, I think, was being able to offer an alternative assessment option, the better chance of better grade, removing the barrier. And then also we were talking about sector-specific activity. I think a roundtable discussion is a more sector-appropriate activity because it's involving, it's discursive and you're talking to your peers, and that, as that student pointed out, they can learn from each other as well. So in terms of challenges, I think really the first step is just being creative about the +1 or the +2. And I think once you have the training, I think that helps with that. And then I suppose the main challenge would be time, just finding the time to redesign a brief or finding the time to engage in an alternative assessment. For example, in this case, me going to Moodle and downloading an essay and reading it is much faster than organising the discussion, bringing the students in, scheduling them, recording it, uploading the video, etc. So you can see that that's an obvious example of that. What did I learn? I think I learned more about the importance of having the even playing pitch for that cohort of students by varying the means of delivery and assessment according to the UDL principles. And I think the importance of removing those barriers as well that other people have spoken about today. And I think when it comes to UDL, I think the knowledge and understanding, the mindset of UDL shifts your thinking in a way automatically towards more creative solutions. I found that, and I think my colleagues have found that. One of my colleagues is here today. So this is some of our students from the business class. So myself and my colleague Kathleen, they've just got their certificate in business level 6. So they're looking very happy, very smart. Okay, so just if I think I'm just at my time. So I just want to say just very briefly how the UDL principles inform teaching and learning in Rathmines College. I suppose the key point, the first one there is the greater awareness of benefits of UDL approach to teaching and learning. And then I'll just skip ahead. This will be up online anyway, because I think I don't want to run over my time. And then in relation to assessment, I think, using rubrics, all of that, checking briefs internally, externally, and then if we skip to the end there, the last 2 points, I think, supporting, the last 3 points, staff feel safe and supported by management and by QQI and by the external examiners as well, so that it's a holistic and systemic, as people mentioned here before as well. And the EAs, I believe, are very much on board with this as well. So that's it. I'll finish here because I don't want to, I've run over a little bit already. Thank you.
Thank you, Maeve. That's brilliant to see. So we've been from inquiry-based learning to roundtable discussions. Next up, we're heading towards podcasts, so which is really good to see. I think what Maeve said is really important she touched on the importance of the QA process, and actually that the QA process itself encourages and supports this type of practice. It also speaks to the comment from the gentleman from the floor just before lunch as well about the importance of policy at that level supporting this work.